Derrick Rose be thinking about retirement? It is certainly possible. What is going on, y'all? 5 Sports Talk back at it with another video talking some NBA, talking one Derrick Rose, who Adrian Wojnarowski just reported is away and taking an extended absence from the Cleveland Cavaliers, and he is actually considering his future in basketball. Yes, that's right, considering his future in basketball, or lack thereof, because there might not be a future, because he is getting mentally drained. He is getting increasingly frustrated with the injuries that have been piling up for him pretty much his entire career. You know the story with Derrick Rose. He's never able to stay healthy, and so now at this point, I guess he's reached a breaking point, if you will, and wants to know if it's even worth it for him to continue, because he is getting injured so often, and the end does not seem to be in sight for the end of his injuries, if you will. So I'm here to break it down for you guys, because like I said, I was shocked like everybody else when they heard this news, but I'm going to give a different perspective on this topic, because if you guys are new to my channel, I'm a Bulls fan, and if you guys have been on my channel, you guys should know I'm a Bulls fan, and I have watched Derrick Rose's entire career, basically from his start to, I'm not going to say finish, but whatever right now is, okay? And I've watched the highs and lows from when he went from Rookie of the Year to MVP, multiple-time All-Star, to now that he's a minimum, taking a veteran's pay cut, role player on the Cleveland Cavaliers, okay? So let's break this down step by step and go through what his thought process is, and whether or not he actually is going to be serious about retiring, and whether he should be serious about retiring. Now let's first quickly talk about the injuries, because like I said, Derrick Rose says he is increasingly frustrated here because of the injuries, and it does make sense, because obviously Rose has never played a full season in the NBA. He's never played the full 82 games. Actually, the closest he got was 81 games back in his MVP season, but since then the most games he's played is about 66, so he has had an injury pretty much every single season since that MVP year, okay? So definitely taking a toll on him, I would say, injury-wise, okay, for sure. And we know some of these injuries that have been well documented. Of course, the ACL tear initially, then the meniscus tear. I believe he tore his meniscus twice, ankle, whatnot. So definitely a lot of injuries there. But my question really is, were these injuries preventable, or was it just bad luck? I'm going to definitely say it's half and half for this, for sure, because obviously Derrick Rose is an NBA athlete. He definitely should be taking care of his body, and I'm sure he did take care of his body, but people do say that a lot of those landings that he had early on when he used to dunk like crazy, his athleticism was off the charts. His landings did not used to be safe, because he used to land on one foot and used to put all that pressure sort of on the heel of his foot, if you will. And so that kind of, you know, played a part in it, because, you know, it would sort of cause shock to his knee every single time. You can look up videos on YouTube. There's plenty of them out there of why Derrick Rose potentially got hurt so much. And here's the thing, we'll never know. That's obviously a good test, and that's obviously a good reason to say it, but really I'm sure there's a lot of guys that jump you know, and land a certain way, but some guys get lucky. You know, LeBron James plays with so much power, but he's never gotten hurt, you know, knock on wood. Why doesn't he get hurt? But I'm definitely going to say it did play somewhat of a part in it. Maybe not all, but definitely somewhat of a part in it. And for Derrick Rose, which has piled on from years and years, it's definitely now taking a toll on him. I get that, because you have to keep rehabbing, you have to keep coming back, keep rehabbing, keep coming back. That makes sense to me. But here's the underlying factor that not a lot of people talk about. You see, when we talk about Derrick Rose and his injury history, the reason it is so highlighted, the reason Derrick Rose himself is so hyped, okay, this man had pretty much just one really great season, which was that MVP season. And if you compare his statistics, it wasn't even one of the best MVP seasons. It was just the Bulls had the best record in the league, and obviously LeBron James had went to the Heat at the time, so not a lot of people wanted LeBron James to win the MVP award, so Derrick Rose got it. I'm not saying he didn't deserve it. He did deserve the award, but we're talking about a man that put together maybe one, at most two good seasons, because obviously the other seasons he hadn't played that much. He did win a Rookie of the Year award, but Derrick Rose's career, honestly, when you talk about that trajectory, he peaked so early. 22 is when he won his first MVP. Everyone knows youngest MVP ever. But I'm here to say that award, man, that award was the best and worst thing that ever happened to DRose, because it put him into the spotlight like no other. All people talk, you go on Twitter, man, every single year, all people talk about, oh, highlights from Derrick Rose's MVP season, and I get all that. But there have been plenty of guys in this league that have had a career trajectory, mind you, that has been comparable to Derrick Rose, if not worse, okay? I bring up Brandon Roy, folks. Brandon Roy was in the league for 6 seasons. 6, okay? He was an all-star for 3 of those seasons, and basically 4 years into the league with the Blazers, his knees were done, okay? And this wasn't sort of an injury issue in terms of the playing style. Brandon Roy was as smooth as they came. Go look up his highlights on Twitter, YouTube. Brandon Roy was smooth, man. That guy, if he played with Damian Lillard and LaMarcus Aldridge and CJ McCollum, he was CJ McCollum before CJ McCollum. Like, I think he was a better version of him. He was a smooth operator, just could stroke it from anywhere. So Brandon Roy got to play a total of 4 seasons pretty much in the league before his knees gave out, and that was because he had bone on his knees, okay? So he has had those problems since college. I'm not sure what the back history was, but I definitely know his playing style did not play a part in those knees getting shredded down to the bone, because like I mentioned, his playing style was smooth. But Brandon Roy, no one mentions him because he never won an MVP award, okay? Funny enough, his best season, I believe, before that knee injuries started popping up, was the same year Rose won the MVP award. But obviously the Blazers were not a top seed like Derrick Rose's Bulls were. But no one brings up Brandon Roy at all because he never won an MVP award. But Brandon Roy's career trajectory was pretty much the same. 3-time All-Star, Rookie of the Year, was at the top of the league, one of the best guards in the NBA, and now not only is he relegated to be a role player, I mean, he had to play on the Timberwolves, this dude couldn't even play. He was forced out of the NBA because his knees were pretty much done. At least Derrick Rose has still been able to play in the league. At least he's still been able to have a roster spot. And not only that, he's been able to start. He's been a starter his entire career. I believe he's only had 1 game where he was not a starter. And for Derrick Rose to still have that, that's more than a lot of guys can ask. But I'm not taking away from the fact that his injuries have not been catastrophic. Absolutely they have. I'm just saying that MVP award and the fact that he was in, one of the biggest markets in the NBA really catapulted his story above all of these other guys that had sort of a similar injury history, injury past that kind of derailed their careers. So now begs the question of if Derrick Rose will actually retire, because this is exactly what he's talking about when he says contemplating the future outside of basketball. I don't believe he retires because Derrick Rose would stand to lose, I believe, $70 million from Adidas if he is not in the NBA. So I don't think he's retiring for that reason. But here's the thing. I believe he's going to be forced to retire sooner rather than later. And the reason I say that is because Derrick Rose, it's been building up now with his resume in terms of, obviously, everyone knows the injury history. So that's one red flag. Next red flag, dependability. Derrick Rose walks out last season. I know he had a family issue, but you got to let the team know. Didn't let the team know, just disappeared. And now this season, obviously, he's been away from the team, and now he's thinking about retirement. So any team that signs him, they know they can't depend on Derrick Rose. They know he won't be there every single game. And they know that, you know what, why am I going to start this guy and give him a starting role if I don't know he's going to be there the entire season? And he might retire anytime. He might go away anytime. You just never know. And for Derrick Rose, he might be in a very dark place right now. And I hope and I pray and wish the best for him. But right now, he needs to make sure that basketball, if it is not his priority, then obviously he should walk away from the game. But I don't think he's going to, like I said, for monetary reasons. But here's the thing. A lot of guys would love to be back in the league that are playing in China and overseas right now that can't get a spot in the league because of said reasons. Now, Derrick Rose, I believe he can still play, but obviously not to the level nearly as before. And to be honest, like, I don't even know if he's a starting point guard in this league anymore. I would say he's a 6th man off the bench, a role player, if you will, because too many factors are against him. There's too many red flags, like I said. So Would I be surprised if he retired? Yes and no. I'm saying he's not going to retire because of the money, but Derrick Rose has accumulated enough money in his career to where I think he should be okay. I could be wrong about that, but I do think Derrick Rose will be forced to retire very soon because I don't think any team is going to want to deal with this anymore. He is just too much baggage for the cost, and I just don't think he's worth it. My prayers out to DRose. Hope he gets better. One of the saddest stories in the NBA, but obviously that is because his name, his being the hometown kid in Chicago, being in one of the biggest markets, winning the MVP award at the youngest age, a lot of factors played into that because a lot of other guys do not get the notoriety that Derrick Rose does. So that is what I think, folks. Let me know what you guys think about Derrick Rose and whether or not you guys actually think he's going to retire. I think this is just going to be a small hiatus for Rose, and I think he's going to come back. And I think he should try to stay in the league for as long as the league will let him, because this league is not forgiving. If you can't play and if you're too much of a baggage, they're going to let you go. And a lot of guys are overseas because of that reason. So let me know what you guys think about Derrick Rose, whether you guys agree or disagree. Hope DRose gets better, man. Hope Derrick Rose still plays in the NBA because it still obviously is better with DRose playing. But we'll never see him at that level again. Who knows? But if you guys like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Please make sure to follow me on my social media link down below for that. Please make sure to subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching.